Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And we're doing this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. Travis, another inter-squad scrimmage. I don't know that I've ever been this excited for a practice. We talk about practice. And I know last year Liam Cohen wanted more inter-squad scrimmage than he got. This year, everything has one. It's an amazing thing. Tell us a little bit of what you saw to get us off the ground here, man.
Well, I mean, it was a ridiculously physical day. And I've said this to multiple people, and I think all of them have wholeheartedly agreed that this was the most physical practice that I think I've seen from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that includes the joint practices from Miami last year. That includes, it wasn't full tackling, but it's probably the closest thing you're ever going to get to full tackling where it results in multiple skirmishes on the offensive field. And weirdly, and we're going to get into this later, but weirdly, no skirmishes on the defensive field, despite the fact that they had no less than 4 to 5 straight, rock'em sock'em robot knockout punches. It was weird.
I do remember watching some of the various feeds. Jamal St. Cyr's comes particular in mind about a lot of defensive stops at the goal line for the running for the Carolina Panthers. And no disrespect to Bryce Young. This is a group up front that's going to try to run a lot in the Carolina Panthers. No disrespect to Tent McMillan either. But listen, you're talking about physicality in a world where, by my count, there's 4 O linemen that are at least day-to-day, and LaQuint Allen is out for the rest of camp, and I heard you use the words physicality. That makes me excited, Travis. Okay,
it made Liam Cohen excited. He talked about it in his post practice availability. The fact that the Jaguars weren't just able to kind of have a dominant run game today in this joint practice, but also had very much success in the run game, and talking about the 5 guys up front, despite these guys not having much practice together, despite these guys obviously not being 100%, and a lot of the guys not even playing in their normal positions. It was a fascinating time for both the media and seemingly for the coach, because they were moving guys. And shout out to John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. I know you guys are going to read his work covering the joint later today. Dude, this was easily the best practice that Bayshaw Tootin has had in his career in Jacksonville, and I don't think he was wrong. Bayshaw had 2 explosive runs, and again, the offense was opening holes. He had 1 great cutback run that resulted in a touchdown, got the crowd rocking. It was a really good day up front, and you're not used to hearing that with all of the hand-wringling within the fan base about the state of the offensive line.
Right. No, we've had this conversation here. I've had it on Locked On Jaguars Hit. There's so much going on in the running game that's being completely ignored. And I don't think it's entirely the fault of the players involved. I think there's just so many stories around it. Will Trevor Lawrence get better? The receiver core being amazing and dynamic as it is, right? Travis after being, I think, the O-line and the injuries. And I know we're staying in my house for quite a bit, but the questions are coming in through the comments here. PJ Brown did start out by asking about your house. We'll get there for a minute. Is who was with the number 1s at DB, but who did they trot out as the top 5 in the offensive line? You may not have been able to see it. I know it gets chaotic out there, but who did you see?
So this is fun because I was handling the defensive side. Gus Lowe, managing editor over at Big Cat Country, handled the offensive side. I want to speak on what I know and what was reported and what I saw. Those are the combination of factors. So on the offensive side of things, I didn't see the original first play as far as who was starting. I only saw the scrum that took place after the fact, because they started fighting after the first play. But what I can tell you is that there were a few different combinations. You did have Walker Little. Obviously, he was able to actually practice. We were questionable on that until the last 48 hours when he practiced yesterday a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, Walker Little did practice, but also he had a rough day. That's the other part of that coin is, he had a rough day. Jalen Phillips got him a few times in the team's period. That stinks. But also he was at least participating as far as that's concerned. And I can't tell you who the starting alignment was just because I was you're going between fields. You see what you can see. But at the end of the day, obviously, you're still going to see the different combination of guys simply because well, the Jaguars have a need at offensive guard and tackle. That's why they just signed Daniel Falele earlier the day before practice. In case anyone missed that,
I'm about to say we're going to talk about that more tonight on the Duval Dive proper. But you better bet we're both going to be talking a lot about that. I'm fascinated by it. But
with that special guest that we have coming on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, don't get me extra excited. Damn it, Travis.
For those who don't know, let's just say it's a very special guest coming.
It's a big day here at the Dive. But yeah, you saw those offensive alignments. Bayshaw 2 incoming of age. I think Trevor threw 1 interception in there.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Nope. Yeah, you got it. To the Saints, to the Panthers safety, apparently, and it looks like it was taken back for a touchdown or something close to that. Maybe it might have been touchdown. But outside of that, a moderately good day for the offense. But again, Cohen even spoke to that, saying, you know, it's a lot of guys up front who don't play together, and you're still trying to make sure you get them on the same page, rotating in with Trevor in the offense. If he has time, then it's normally a better situation. If you don't give him the time to kind of go through his progressions, sometimes you have things like that maybe happen. So it wasn't a direct quote as far as this is why the interception happened, but I kind of read that as,
it's a factor.
I don't really blame him for this, and it's a factor.
I mean, well, and let's be clear. As we're having the conversation, I feel inclined to
talk about the fact that it's
we talk about practice.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice, not a game. We talking about practice.
My favorite thing about that clip is he says not a game 3 times to make it clear.
Oh, no, he says it like 16 times in the overall clip. That's the crazy part about it. He kills that quote. But Cohen did also say that he was still questionable on whether or not the starters are going to play on Friday.
Sure.
And honestly, I whispered this to no, it don't matter who I said it to. I whispered this to someone following the presser, and I'm like, oh, this is 100% sure. I'm 100% sure this is because these guys just balled out of their minds today.
Yeah.
Because the Jacksonville Jaguars defense and offense both had such great first halves, we'll call it, of practice, openings of practice. I think that Cohen looked at this like, why do I need to play him?
Yeah. That's wild. Wild.
Why do I need to see him? I mean, we're trying to keep these guys healthy, and we don't even know if we're going to have the true starting O-line of what we're going to see in week 1. Why do I need to put my starters out there? We'll see. And what he said was like, we'll look at the tape. We'll see how we came out of today's practice before making that opinion or making that statement. But that's my thought process, is that it was so good on the offensive side of things. Again, you're talking about the run game. You're talking like moving guys, things that we didn't expect to see. On the defensive side of things, you're talking about the defense. Oh my Jesus! Let's get into that.
Well, before we do defense, a couple bit of notes. Bokacher with another touchdown, so that's 2 practices, 3 TTs for
Kozel.
Kicker. Kozel has a TD as well. Jacoby Myers.
And he ran over a guy on the sideline.
I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah, he had a big where we went full juggernaut. Which
man.
He's more than a dude who's 6'7". Apparently, he can knock a guy over. Okay, if that cross line pancake wasn't enough from the Saints game, we have that confirmed. Jacoby Myers, touchdown in there as well. So yeah, I think there was a clip of 3 or 4 drives in a row where the Jags offense had touchdowns.
Yeah. You had Cohen talked about the Jaguars' success in the red zone, the fact that they ended the season top 5 in the NFL at red zone success. And then you follow that up with last week's joint practices with the Saints, where they simply couldn't be stopped. I believe it was like 4 out of 4 plays where they scored a touchdown before having 1 down play and then another touchdown later in the Saints joint practices. And then today they scored touchdowns. I believe it was on 8 out of 10 plays. And I'm like, Lord, whatever they're doing in between, 100% sure if the Jaguars get inside of the 20-yard line, Cam Little, you can just rest, because it very much feels like they have answers on answers on answers on answers on them. And that's weirdly without Parker Washington playing today. That's without LaQuint Allen as your pass blocking running back today. I don't know what to think about it, because again, I would say, well, maybe the Saints need help on defense, but I don't think that that's necessarily it. I think it's truly these guys are dominant, man.
Yeah, and the Panthers aren't necessarily slouches up front either. I hear where you're going with that for sure. And then what can Rodriguez be in protection? I'm looking forward to seeing answers to all of that.
Fair question. That is a very fair question, because that's the question in this game of the third down package and how much he's going to give you as a pass catching back and or a pass blocking back. We don't know that. He just hasn't had many snaps and availability to kind of prove that. So that's up in the air. We can kind of all learn that together, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it.
That's going to be the fun part about Friday's game, Travis. But hey, take us to the defense, man. Bring us to your house.
Well, if we're going to wrap up with the offense, let's wrap up with the offense first. So you know what? Now you got me all excited talking offense. Well, Josh Cameron, he had a big touchdown from Trevor Lawrence down the sideline. That was the one that Coach Cohen talked about. Being a really good throw from Trevor, but also Cameron had multiple great contested catches throughout the practice. You were here in the fan base, you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. Huge day for Bashaw Tootin because it was a huge day for the offensive line. Again, that was clear. John Shipley mentioned that also. Devin Lloyd gave up a few catches. And again, that's not Jaguars news. But if y'all some haters, like I know y'all are, I know y'all kind of appreciate that. Devin Lloyd gave up a big catch to Brenton Strange, who was trailing behind him, and gave up like 2 more contested catches for the Jaguars to lose that linebacker and still have questions on what he's going to be versus what the Jaguars kind of have in house. You probably like to see that. I'm not going to pretend that's not the case.
I mean, somebody did ask about how the linebackers looked with Devin Lloyd on the other side. That's a whole thing there too. No, they listen. The Duval's in here. They wanted that. They wanted that. They
wanted that, and I know y'all wanted it. And I'm here to give y'all what you want. That's right. I'm gonna give you what you want. Give you what you like. No, but on the offensive side of things, the defensive side of things. Sorry, the Carolina Panthers offense, bro. This was so physical. This was such a physical day. And when I said physical, I wasn't just talking offense and blocking. I was talking about defense while not quote unquote tackling, absolutely hitting guys like hard thuds. Hitting guys. Antonio Johnson knocked the hell out of Tommy Tremble for the Carolina Panthers to the point where I'm like, boy, you got to fight him after that. And I said it to again, I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. I said it to a certain person on the sideline. Yeah. I'm like, bro, hell nah, you gonna have to fight me after that because. And he just got up, did a first down symbol, and walked back to the huddle. I'm like, nah, bro, that's not enough because it was rough. It was a big hit. You had Jalen Husky, who had a huge hit on the sideline with Frank. I forget his name. Frank, what the tight end for the Panthers? I forget the name. It's like another F name to play for the Florida Gators. And then
we can move on.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. It was another big hit on the sideline, and then I was like, geez, they are hitting. And then Foye Oluokun with the sixth sense, he's getting blocked. He rolls off of the defender, kind of falls into the hole randomly, and just hits Jonathan Brooks, the running back for the Panthers. And I'm like, there's no way he saw him. And he knocks him out. And I'm like, yo, they are hitting. And it was just a big day like that. Like, if you're a fan of real football and not like the play football practice kind of thing, then you're probably a fan of how this worked out for the Jacksonville Jaguars offense and defense. Not to mention, they had no less. If you want to be like by Chase Young and say, I had 6 sacks today in practice and blah, blah, blah. The Jacksonville Jaguars had 10 to 12 sacks today, and I don't mean that in jest. I'm not playing when I say that. Like, I have it written down. The Jacksonville Jaguars in teams period, they could not be blocked. Josh Hines Allen had at least 3 to 4. BJ Green had 1. Dennis Gardeck had 2. And Devon Hamilton had a sack. And I was like, yo, they are struggling to block them. On most of the big plays, even for the Carolina Panthers, they were sacks. And they weren't like close. Like Devon Hamilton sitting back there just looking at his nails. Like it's time. So again, I don't know what that means for the Jaguars when it comes to live scrimmage, live reps, but it feels like this is the day that they absolutely want it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the starters did sit.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating point you make that if they balled out like it sounds like they did here from your reports, man, I completely get it. Let's take it over to defensive backs. I know PJ Brown had our moneymaker himself.
Yes, Lord.
Came out the gate asking about the DBs in particular, and he was also asking about Johnny Nickel. And what do you have there?
Man, everybody asks about starting and not starting. I don't think that matters as much to me right now. I mean, just being honest about it. Whether or not starting, yes, he was playing a lot of snaps. He was playing early. He was playing inside and outside. But whether or not he was the first corner on the field on first play, I don't really worry myself about that too much, just because he played most of the snaps with the ones. So take what you will from that. And he had a reasonably good day. He did give up a really 50-yard tight coverage bomb to Ted McMillan. That was the one that Devon Hamilton would have really had a sack, if we're being honest about it. And
Devon Hamilton with us?
Devon Hamilton. I said what I said.
Okay,
Devon Hamilton.
I heard you right, dude. Like,
is sitting back there looking at me from behind the quarterback, because that's how long he had. The play was done. And Bryce Young throws the ball up. Ted McMillan catches it. And again, it is really good coverage. It is also a really good catch and no room. And he catches it.
Ted McMillan has game. We throw no shade
Ted
at Ted.
McMillan and Chris Olave in 2 weeks back to back both had really, really good days for the Carolina Panthers and New Orleans Saints. I would never discount them on that. I would just also say not so dissimilar to the last time the Jaguars had joint practices against the Buccaneers when BTJ had that really big practice day a few years back. And I told y'all then, hey, man, if this is the game, these would have all been sacks. I'm saying the same thing today for the Carolina Panthers. They had a few big plays in the passing game, but most of them were sacks. I'm just being honest about it.
Bucks joint practice, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
it just is what it is.
If that's what they're taking home, let's not rest on the laurels. If you're a Panthers fan,
Yes, and I think what is that? PJ Brown's comment that was asking about the goodness gracious, what is it? It sounds like the D line's going to be good this year. I wasn't going to say that before seeing these guys be like truly live bullets in game. But I'm getting to that point of saying that I think that with the rotation of guys that they have, and again, that's not without even me seeing a lot from Zach Durfee and those guys, it really does feel like that they're going to be a lot better than even we thought that they were going to be.
A preponderance of evidence, and I've already said my part about D tackles being what they are. Travis, is there anything else you want to drop before you wrap up here, sir?
Oh, nah, man. We got a whole nother podcast tonight. So if I forgot anything, we absolutely have the capacity to talk to you guys about it more. So I'm here for it. I would get back on the road just so we can get to that special guest later.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you do your thing. I'll wrap up with the comments here. And but yeah, great job, champion, doing your thing in the field. And I'll talk to the commenters here as we wrap up, man. So you take care and keep doing your thing. Drive safe. That was Travis D. Holmes from Miller Electric after the game. I see you guys have some comments in here that I want to address here before we wrap up here at the Duval Dive. Of course, make sure you follow Travis on all the socials. Travis D. Holmes by the way, bigcatcountry.com. Make sure you have a local librarian read his article at Big Cat Country if you can't read. So let me get into some of these comments here with you guys here. The question about the defensive line, I addressed it lightly too here in other places. This defensive tackle core is better than I thought it would be. And that alone could account for any potential upgrade in my mind. So, let's see what happens. There's a preponderance of evidence, but really we don't know anything yet. And from what I'm hearing, there's an opportunity for them to be chasing Sador Sanders. How cool would it be to see Travis Hunter pick him off? I'm just going to throw it out there if that happens. Clayton Davis in the comments. Shout out to my guy, We Want Houston, if that's the guy who I think it is. T-Law is also not scrambling right now. That helps the offense even more in live games. Absolutely. T-Law is an athlete, but if he doesn't have to be one, that's a net positive, right? The fewer positions he has to be hit, we don't want to bring up anyone in particular from any particular teams which might have involved a slide necessarily, but the fewer opportunities for your quarterback to be hit, the better. 100%. Storm the Desert in the comments. QBs at practice is like the United States boats. Don't touch my boats. I love the World War II reference. I didn't have World War II references in the chat, but here we are, Storm. I dig it. Let's see. Everyone's saying we traded for depth at guard, but Buddy played the last 34 games straight for the Ravens. You're talking about Falele. The answer to that is both things are true. It was a low-cost acquisition for a guy who may not necessarily be starting in Jacksonville, which is a credit to the upgrade at the O-line. And if you have a guy with 2 years starting experience, what a hell of a backup you have if he doesn't crack the starting five. I think there's some there with all of that. So, and my dude PJ Brown's next level 3-leg preseason parlay for Friday's game. I mean, let us know how you did Friday night. Once we wrap that up, that'll be perfect. But good luck to you. Duval TV dropping his stats in here. This will be something we'll talking about a bit tonight. But 6'8", 380 pounds. Yeah, that's the kind of bruiser I think he fits the right body type. And I know talking about measurements might bring back trauma of dealing with Trent Baalke, but with this particular piece, because it fits the system that it does, and I feel like at least today he's going to be used as a backup. Maybe he has the opportunity to be like a Cole Van Lannon and evolve his way into the starting lineup by week 17. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right, folks? So all of the above, the initial panic, I feel like the initial panic, I feel like, is more worried about, he's going to be a starter. No, I think this is a long-term, value win when we're talking about that. And I'll get into more details tonight on the dive with Travis and our guest. His primary position for Falele, by the way, is right guard. At least that's where he started for 2 years with the Ravens. So that's what I'll say about that. So, and another point, I'll bring this in too. This regime, according to Duval TV, this regime has a way of getting more from players that have underachieved elsewhere outside of De'Ami Brown. Ezra Cleveland comes to mind as another guard, for an example. That's a great call out, Duval TV. And of course, player health is the most important thing. 1,000%. We want to get the right amount of performance. We want to get the right amount of evaluation while keeping dudes as healthy as possible for when the snaps count after Labor Day in September there. So I think that'll do it for this post-Panther practice edition of the Duval Dive. Again, shouts to Travis nailing it out there in the huge heat. Y'all saw him glistening with all the sweat, I'm sure. But great work by him. Great work by the Jags out there having a fantastic coverage. Listen, we have a lot of fun doing this for you guys, and it's working out nice. We'll see you guys tonight, 7:30 Eastern on the stream. And yeah, for Travis D. Holmes, I'm Kyle Nash, Stu of the Game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Follow me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Check out my additional work covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on Locked On Jaguars Hit. Follow that YouTube channel. Check it out with all the podcasts here. Last Friday, I was on with Wig, so that should be fun. More appearances to be sure with the Locked On Jaguars Squad show, so I'll be involved with that as well. Also, check out my work covering UCF with Locked On UCF, my guy Mike Gittins, as well as UCF Night Zone, and my work covering the Orlando Storm of the UFL with my guy BP. So, yeah, an honor, joy, and privilege to do it with y'all, and there'll be more tonight. Until then, my friends, class dismissed.